Right now I am in Germany, and if you've been watching the past several episodes of History Traveler, well, you know that we have been traveling with Andrew Biggio, author of The Rifle, along with 4 veterans of the Second World War. And the experience has been incredible to not only go to these battlegrounds, but to go to them with the men who actually fought there and to hear the stories from their own mouths. It's been the experience of a lifetime. And over the next few days, we've got something else that I think is going to be pretty unique. We have the opportunity, while we are here in Germany, to meet with some of the former enemies of these men, including a German nurse and a man who was a member of the 2nd SS. All right, now before we go in, there are a few things that I want to make abundantly clear about what we are doing today. So we're meeting with a man named Gerhart, who was in the 2nd SS Das Reich. And I want to be clear in saying that nothing that we are doing today is to minimize or dismiss the awful things that happened in the 1930s and 1940s under the reign of Hitler. Gerhart is a man who, by his own admission, does not hold the views that he did as a younger man, has, of course, disavowed anything with National Socialism and wants to make peace with his former enemies. All 4 of the veterans who are traveling with us have been made aware of the opportunity. If any one of them said that they did not want to meet with this man, then we were going to call the whole thing off. All 4 of them, to a man, said that they would like to have the opportunity to sit down and talk with him. So anyway, those are just a few things that I wanted to make clear. Also, one other thing, the 2nd SS had a really terrible reputation during World War II that was well earned. There were some things that they did on the Eastern Front and in France that were legitimate war crimes. Gerhart joined up with the 2nd SS after those things happened and jumped in right about the time of the Battle of the Bulge. So there's a difference between war and war crimes. But anyway, people may watch this and not agree with what we're doing. They may watch and not agree with some of the things that are going to be said by either side. I don't know what's going to happen. But whether you agree or disagree, it's an opportunity to learn. I'm not even saying that I'm going to agree with everything. But anyway, we're going to go inside and just let the camera roll and watch these men meet up.
You're listen. That means the wild. What's in this?
Wild, not wild. Document whatever you can, I guess. So, Jack, Bud, Jake, Ed, this is our friend Gerhard who wants to join us for lunch today, and these are our American veterans. And nice to meet you, sir. Hello, sir.
Gerhard.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello, Gerhard.
Meeting you.
Yeah. Gerhard, hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Really, so.
And
Yeah, we are a little older together. Yes. Yeah. So, I'm so glad we both survived. I have a little problem with the air and two things. You should pull a little louder Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I was saying, I'm glad we both survived the war.
Yeah.
That you lived through.
I
That you
didn't
came back.
expect it that
Came
his
home.
English is so good because I was.
You didn't
I was
get
thinking I have
killed
to
in the war,
translate all
like,
stuff.
I didn't
We
get
worked
killed.
a lot in America. Yes.
The SS had a reputation, whether it was true or not, whether it might have been hyped up by PR, but the SS were supposed to be very mean and very efficient, and were killers. We just felt that about them, and of course that proved to be true in the Saar Valley. We lost. In 6 days, we had 90-some men killed and about 215 wounded, just in 6 days down there, fighting the 11th Panzer Division. So I think there's some truth to that they were a mean group, and would not hesitate to murder, but to shoot you if you were unarmed.
How do you feel about what just happened inside with us meeting this guy from the 2nd SS?
Well, yeah, he might have been a very efficient, very tough member of that group, but he probably didn't want to be in the war any more than I did. We all hated it, but we did survive it. I'm sure the German ranks were filled with 17 and 18-year-old kids. We even fought some 15-year-old kids before the war was over. Germany was scraping the bottom of the barrel to get people to go fight, the older people as well as the very, very young. It's a shame to kill people like that, but you had to do it.
I was wondering if you could tell me just kind of what your thoughts are on meeting one of these guys who was a former enemy.
It was interesting because I asked him if German soldiers talked to Americans like he's meeting with us, and he said very few of them would do that. He said, I realize that war is war, but he said now we should be friends. And I agree with him 100%.
My name is Bud Hedeke. I flew 23 combat missions, and we are here in Frankfurt, Germany, which I happened to bomb in March of 1945. It's been 78 years since I've been here, and I just had the pleasure of meeting a German soldier, and believe me, folks, it brought tears to my eyes. We're both human beings. We both have hearts, and what a blessing from God that I was able to come back here and meet him. The SS, of course, were the bad guys. I am very thankful that I was never exposed or captured by them. We came very close when we crashed in St. Troiden, Belgium. German signs were all over the field, and we were told that they had left there about 30 days prior. So the good Lord, again, spared me and my crew, but unfortunately now they're all gone. How has time changed things? Well, first of all, 78 years is a long time. But it gave us a chance to, or me, of course, to think about this and meet people, and the number of people I met, which were our enemies then, are just wonderful people. They did what they had to do at a certain time. Some, yes, some did it intentionally, and they'll have to pay that price. But most of them were like us. We did what we had to do. We were told to do it, and we're thankful that we got home. As I say in the documentary I'm in, We just did what we were told to do and never thought about who we were killing or anything like that. As you get older, believe me, you do think about it. And meeting this man today, if your heart can be softened, mine was softened.
What was the opinion that you guys had of the SS versus like a regular?
Well, the SS was brutal. They didn't care about anything. They were strictly business. They were vicious. And Hitler Youth came up and they were trained more or less on the same structure.
Can you tell me how it felt to meet one of these guys that, you know, just now?
Well, as years go by, you all these years, 78 years ago, you mellow, and you get a lot different opinion of people's way they are today. But they have changed, and we have changed and grown older, and you forget a lot of those animosities you had.
Can you tell me just what your name was and what role you played during the war?
Er fragt, ob du kurz deinen Namen sagen kannst und die Rolle, also was du gemacht hast im Krieg.
Gerhart heiße ich. Ja, ich war 2,5 Jahre noch im Krieg, bin Pionier gewesen und mit 18 Jahren und 10 Monaten Offizier und Sturmführer. Ich war dann bei der Ardennenoffensive dabei. Am ersten Tag ist mein Kompanieführer gefallen und ich als blutjunger Leutnant mit 19 Jahren musste eine Kompanie bei diesen Gefechten führen.
Warte mal kurz, ich übersetze. He said he was a Waffen-SS member, 2.5 years of the war. He was a soldier and took part of the war. And his first combat, he served in the Ardennes offensive on the Christmas Day 1944. His company leader died, and he took the role of the company leader for his squad.
Can you tell me a little bit of what the combat looked like on the German side during the Battle of the Ardennes?
Er möchte wissen, wie für die deutschen Soldaten die Kriegsführung in der Ardenne ausgesehen hat. Wie hat man auf der deutschen Seite den Krieg in den Ardennen wahrgenommen?
Zunächst sehr beeinflusst durch das Wetter. Wir hatten hohe Schneefälle.
There was a lot of snow and the weather was a big problem.
Die ganze Anfahrt war sehr schwierig.
To drive in the area was very difficult for the units.
Und wir hatten hohen Treibstoffverbrauch.
They used more fuel than they expected.
Wobei wir mit 4 V-Sätzen, mit 4 Vermögenssätzen gerechnet hatten, mit 400 Kilometern.
They expected to need fuel for 400 kilometers, but they need much more than they expected.
Zu erreichen die amerikanischen Tanklager.
They hoped to get to the American fuel supply stations to get their fuel.
Und so. Und das war das eine. Das andere war die Luftwaffe.
There was a big problem with the Allied planes.
Wir hatten bis an Weihnachten das sogenannte Hitlerwetter. Das heißt niedere Wolkendecke, sodass kein amerikanischer oder englischer Flieger fliegen konnte.
Until Christmas they had a cloudy sky. That was good for them because the Allied planes couldn't attack them because they don't fly during the cloudy time at the day. And they called it Hitlerwetter themselves because it was a success for them. But after this, the weather was better and the American planes started to attack their units.
So, can you tell me about like after the Battle of the Ardennes? Where did you guys go next?
Fragt nach der Ardennenoffensive, wo du als nächstes noch eingesetzt wurdest.
Wir wurden per Eisenbahn nach Osten geführt.
They go with the train east.
Und wir sollten Budapest entsetzen, also nach Ungarn.
They tried to defend the city of Budapest.
So, und dann gelang es nicht.
This plan failed.
Und dann kamen die Kämpfe um Wien und in Wien.
Then he was part of the battle around and inside the city of Vienna.
So, ich habe diese Kämpfe bis zum letzten Tag oder der letzten Stunde mitgemacht.
He was part of this battle until the last hour.
Zuvor habe ich bei den Häuserkämpfen auf 15 Meter Entfernung einen schweren russischen Panzer mit der Panzerfaust abgeschossen.
In the close combat fightings in the city center of Vienna, he destroyed a big Russian tank with a Panzerfaust with a distance from under 15 meters.
So, can you recall what might have been your hardest day in the war?
Welchen würdest du als deinen schwersten Einsatz, als deinen schwersten Tag im Krieg bezeichnen?
Als ich diesen Panzer abgeschossen
It was the
habe.
day when he destroyed the Russian tank in the city center and they were fighting in the buildings of Vienna city center. That was the hardest day for him.
Okay. How did the war end for you?
Wie hat der Krieg für dich geendet?
Unter Waffen bis am 9. Mai sind wir noch mit meiner Einheit in Südmähren gestanden.
They had in his unit they had strong discipline until the last day of the war and they carried their weapons until the 9th of May of 1945 and were acting like a good working combat unit and there were no signs of giving up.
Und wir haben unsere Einheiten aufgelöst und wir konnten nach Hause gehen.
The war was over and they started to go home. They threw away their stuff and started to walk towards where they were living.
Sofern wir nicht in Gefangenschaft geraten sind.
And they tried not to get a prisoner of war.
Can you tell me how 80 years of time has changed your view of the war?
Möchte wissen, wie du nach 80 Jahren den Krieg heute beurteilst, rückblickend.
Unnötig.
It was not necessary.
Und die USA haben in 2 Beteiligungen am Ersten und am Zweiten Weltkrieg Europa zerstört.
The two world wars with the USA taking part destroyed the European countries and there were a big damage to European as a continent.
Und die Russen nach Europa hereingelassen.
And it was a big fail to let the Russians inside Europe, to let the Russian troops come on the European territory. That was a big fail.
And then one last question. Can you tell me how it felt to meet with former enemies today and
als
share a
letzte
meal?
Frage, wie du dich fühlst, dass du heute ehemalige Feinde von dir getroffen hast.
Ich habe Menschen getroffen und Soldaten.
I meet people and soldiers and not enemies today.
Well, if nothing else, that was interesting to watch. There was one moment that I didn't have the camera rolling on, when Gerhard Fempel and Bud Hedeke, who was a bombardier in World War II on a B-17, were talking, and Gerhard apologized to him for his role in the war, and Bud apologized to him for dropping bombs on the cities in Germany. Really interesting. And I know I said at the beginning that there's going to be people who watch this and disagree with some of the things that are said. Honestly, I'm still processing it all myself, but that's a good thing. It's good to be exposed to things that challenge us and things that we may disagree with, because that helps us to learn and to grow. We're going to head back to the house now, and tomorrow morning we are going to be meeting up with a German nurse. Really looking forward to that.
So right now we're at a typical German nursing home, and we're visiting a woman who's at the age of 102 years old. The significance of this meeting is not only did she live through the war, but she was a nurse during the war, and her field hospital was liberated by the 87th Infantry Division, not far from here. And Jack Moran's regiment is the one that liberated the camp. So we're going to reunite her and one of her liberators. And inside her field hospital was she not only taking care of Germans, but she also had 3 American veterans who were wounded during the Rhine River crossing that she cared for. So she's looking forward to meeting her liberators today.
Jack, it's been a few years since you've been here, isn't it?
78 years ago.
78.
This week or this month.
I welcome you as friends from the USA.
I was here 78 years ago.
I'm so glad.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you too. Your name is? What is Einkommen?
Wie heißt du, Oma Ulla? Dein Name?
Ursula. Ulla.
Hola. Hola. Yeah, I'm Jack. Call me Jack. So nice to see you.
Oh, it's a happy day.
Yeah. Happy day.
Happy day.
How did you survive?
He asked, how did you survive?
Wie hast du den Krieg überlebt und den Untergang der Stäuben? Oma, er hat gefragt, wie du den Untergang der Stäuben überlebt hast.
Bad. Only 92%. The rest.
She's speaking of the sinking of the ship, which she survived. She survived a ship sinking of the Stäuben, which was the last hospital ship which came out of the siege of Königsberg.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So good to see you. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I am glad to see you.
Which one do you want to go?
I don't know.
I'd
We
love
have-
to see her.
Suzanne.
I am a retired Air Force pilot, World War II, and I'm almost as old as you.
Das ist Ed Cottrell und er war Pilot von einem Kampfflugzeug
Oi!
und ist 101 Jahre alt, fast so alt wie du.
Oh, I am 102 and 6 months.
In 6 months.
Yes.
You're older than I am and smarter.
Du bist fast so alt wie er, aber schlauer noch.
Yes.
And she's better looking, that's all I'd say.
And better looking.
Und du siehst besser aus als er.
I am very old, but here.
You're smart, very smart. Can I have a hug? Can I have a hug? Ask her.
Oma, kann er eine Umarmung haben von dir? Eine Umarmung.
Thank you.
Thank you, Otto.
Thank
Good luck all days.
you. Great. Okay.
Jacob Ruser.
Jakob Ruser.
Jacob, right.
Ja.
I was a medic, combat medic.
Er war ein Sanitäter bei der Infanterietruppe.
And I'm working in a hospital.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
it's very nice to meet you.
How do I say this? Meine Name is Paul Hedeke,
Paul.
and I flew up in the air.
Oh.
How do you say that?
Airplane.
Ja. Er ist mit Bombern geflogen. Er war, er war Bombardier in einem B-17-Bomber.
He scared you. He's the one that would make you scared.
And
That's not so.
Meine Großvater, I said that right?
Ja.
Came from Königsberg.
Oh,
Yeah,
Königsberg.
in 1890.
Ja.
1890 ist sein Großvater in Königsberg
Königsberg.
geboren.
Ich bin in die Schule gegangen.
There she went to school in
Yeah,
Königsberg.
that's what you said. And my, how do I say this? My mother's mother came from Leipzig,
Leipzig.
and my dad's mother came from Dresden,
Dresden.
and I gotta get this right, and my mother's father came from Hanover.
Hannover.
But they all came over in about, I don't know,
1890s.
1915, 1910.
Ja. So,
You are a half German.
I'm,
All German. All German.
ja,
Me too.
ich kann zu Deutsch verstehen.
Ja.
Ich liebe dich.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. That's wonderful.
Or how about ich
We
weiß,
old men.
ja. How about ich weiß nicht, was soll es bedeuten, dass ich so traurig bin.
Ein Märchen
In
aus
alten
uralten Zeiten.
das kommt mir nicht aus dem Sinn. Die Luft ist cool und ist dunkel und Reise fließt der Rhein. And help.
Felsen im Abendlicht funkelt.
In Abendsonnenschein. I didn't, the way, you better help me.
yes.
The way I learned German is when my mom and dad didn't want me to understand what they were saying.
So, this is my grandma, Ursula Oechsner, born Ursula Matern, and she's from East Prussia, which is like very far in the east. Today it's Russia, and yeah, since the Middle Ages it was part of Germany. And yeah, when the war was going on, in the winter of 44-45, the Red Army went around East Prussia and the town of Königsberg, and there was like a big battle was going on there, and she was trapped, and she was a German nurse, and she ended up on the last hospital ship and refugee ship which went out over the Baltic Sea back to Germany. It was the last chance to escape the siege of Königsberg, and on February 10th, 1945, the ship was sank by a Soviet submarine with 2 torpedoes, and about 4,500 people drowned. And she was one of 300 survivors of the sinking. And then she ended up in Berlin as a nurse, and they assigned her to a field hospital in Kassel. This was in March 1945. And then when the Third Army was pushing into Germany, the field hospital had to be evacuated from Kassel further to the east, and they ended up in Bad Blankenburg, which is a town about 30 miles south from Weimar, where we are today. And on April 12, 1945, her field hospital was overrun by the 87th Infantry Division.
Und Oma, möchtest du mal kurz die Geschichte erzählen von dem Panzer, als er gekommen ist, nach Bad Blankenburg nochmal? Der erste Amerikaner, den du getroffen hast.
Ja. Naja, in Bad Blankenburg muss ich Deutsch.
Du kannst auf Deutsch sagen.
Ja, in Bad Blankenburg, das war der erste amerikanische aktive Soldat. The Panzer were coming and I stood. What will happen? And the soldier asked me, "Hello, baby. What is the matter? What are you doing here?" No, I answered, "I am working tonight in a hospital and I must go to work." He asked, "Where is it?" I told him, 300 meters behind you. And so we were going to my hospital. That was the first meeting with the American soldier.
And then the Americans overtook the hospital, and she became a prisoner of war. And for the rest of the war, she worked for the 312th Medical Battalion, which was the medical battalion attached to the 87th Infantry Division. And she was working and treating American soldiers. And also before the Americans arrived in Bad Blankenburg, they had 7 wounded American soldiers in the field hospital. And she was treating these guys, and when the Americans arrived, they found out, the Americans, that 4 of the wounded Americans were wounded soldiers of the same regiment which arrived in Bad Blankenburg. And they were wounded during the Rhine River crossing, captured by the Germans, treated by the Germans, and then evacuated with the field hospital from the Rhine River to Kassel and to Bad Blankenburg. What a story.
Yeah, wow. Well, hey, thank you for the work that you did during the war to patch people up and
Yes.
bring them to health.